which no methods teach, and the master's hand alone can reach. It washes away the dust of everyday life from the soul. I now call upon the department choir to immerse us in the Almighty's realm. Let us all stand up for the prayer song. Thank you. The joyful heart sees and reads the word with a sense of freedom and graciousness. I invite Dr. G. Nandraj, Person and Head, Department of Commerce, to spread the fragrance of joy through his words of welcome.
Very respected President of this program, our dear Principal Sir, Dr. Selvam, the Head of the Department of Commerce and Financial Studies, Lydia University, Sri Raghunathan Sir from NSE Academy Limited, Mr. Kishore, the resource person for the day, Krishna Kumar Sir from NSE and Vinod Sir from NSE, other members of the faculty, very respected CEO of NSE Academy Limited, Sri Abhilash Sir, who is joining online, and other delegates, my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Department of Commerce and on behalf of our principal, I welcome you all to this faculty development program on Fintech, the future of finance, being organized by the Department of Commerce in collaboration with NSE Academy Limited, Chennai, Mumbai, the branch of Chennai. If you look around you, will find that the way we have been living has changed quite a bit, quite a lot. In fact, the payments that we make without even having cash in our hands. So much has changed. The way we pay for our things, the way we borrow, the way medium and small enterprises borrow money. They don't go to the banks these days. There are different ways of doing payments and lending and borrowing. This is technology driven. This is made possible by technology. And all financial services now are based on technology. And therefore, there is a new area which has emerged, which we call as financial technology, and which will be the order of the day in the future. A lot of expectations are there. This is poised for growth, phenomenal growth, and with new technologies coming from the computer science side, namely blockchain, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. So much change is expected from this area. And as this is what we envisage to happen, we thought it would be good if our faculty members and other members of the Faculty of Commerce had an idea about what it is going to be in future. Therefore, when we got in touch with the NSC Academy Limited, who were also into it, we were able to organize this small workshop or faculty development program where we will get a peek into the future where we are going to spend the rest of our lives. So this has been made possible purely because the NSC Academy came forward to collaborate with us and provide the necessary resource persons. So we are very thankful to them, and I, on behalf of our principal and on behalf of Department of Commerce, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Ablash Mr. the CEO of NSC Academy. Sir, thank you very much for joining online, and I welcome you to this program. Also, I'd like to welcome our dear principal, sir, a very busy man. Even now, there is a meeting that is to start at 10 o'clock. Somehow it's got delayed, so we are able to fill in. Sir, thank you very much. I don't want to take much of your time. Thank you very much for joining, sir, and welcome to this. We have Dr. Selvam with us, a towering personality in the area of finance and authority in financial studies. A great person who has headed the Department of Commerce and Financial Studies at the Bharathasan University and a long-time associate of our college and department. Many programs that we run in our department, for example, the business process management and strategic finance, where we prepare students for USCMA, were possible because he, as a member of the inspection team, was able to help us in getting through the commission. So we are forever grateful to him and we are thankful to him. NSC has signed an MOU with the Bharathasan University, specifically the Department of Commerce, for a center in capital markets. So a lot of things are going to happen there, and God willing, and with his permission, we'll also be joining the whatever activities are planned there. So we are very glad that he is with us this morning. Sir, on behalf of all of us gathered here, I'd like to extend you a very warm welcome, sir, and thank you for a very special time. We have a resource person, Mr. Kishore, who is both an auditor as well as a company secretary. Very high-profile blend of two different areas. He was invited by the NSC Academy to be the resource person for the day, and very luckily he was able to make to this place, and he is here with us this morning. Sir, on behalf of all of us, thank you very much for your time and welcome to this festival. And we have Sri Ranganathan, sir, who is from the NSC Academy. He is a manager there. Many things that we are planning to do in the coming years is made possible because of his efforts. He was the one who encouraged us to go for a new program called BCom Fintech, which we will be starting next year. We have given the proposal to the university, and when things are clear, we'll be starting it next year. And we are also planning to offer certain certifications to NSC. All things made possible by a very benevolent presence and attitude of Sri Ranganathan sir. So thank you very much for joining us and welcome to this FDP. And if there is one person who made everything possible, it is Krishna Kumar sir, a very unassuming, very nice gentleman with whom we have been interacting for over a year. And he was instrumental. He was the first person who came to our department, met us, and made many things possible. Thank you, Krishna Kumar sir, for your very presence. We also have Mr. Vinod from NSC Academy Limited, also a close friend of ours. So thank you very much, sir, for joining and welcome. There's a long list which I should be welcoming, but as I said earlier, our principal is wanted at another place. So I'd like to take this opportunity to very briefly welcome everyone gathered here, my colleagues especially, and participants from other colleges and other members, delegates who have joined online. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope you will have a very pleasant and useful session with us this morning. So once again, thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of welcome. It is a great honor for me to welcome the chief guests of this sunlit, beautiful morning. With that being said, I call upon Dr. C. Priscilla to honor Dr. Selvam.
Thank you very much.
I invite Professor Balamurali Krishnan to honor our Principal Dr. Paul Vyapran with a gift and memento. I request Dr. Penla Agnes to honor Mr. Kotri Kishore. Dr. Ravi Kumar will honor Mr. S. Ranganathan. Mr. Vinod James will be honored by Professor Senthil Kumar. Token of love and gratitude will be given to Mr. Krishna Kumar by Professor Sriram. Thank you, sirs and madams. The admiration of genius makes one aspire for excellence in life. Example moves the world more than doctrine. An ideal thinker, diligent and persistent in seeking result. I take immense pleasure in inviting Dr. D. Paul Vyapran, our principal, to offer the presidential address.
Esteemed Chief Executive Officer of NSC Academy, Mr. Abhilash Mishra, who is an online. Esteemed Professor and Head of the Department of Commerce, our University and Federal College, Dr. M. Selvam Sir. The Vice Head of the Department of Commerce, Dr. G. Yandraj, who is instrumental for this to happen today in our campus. Beloved Kishore, the first person and member of the COI and ICSA. Distinguished professionals linked with this NSC Academy, Mr. Ranganathan, Mr. Krishna Kumar, Mr. George, my dear colleagues, belong to the Department of Commerce. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, my warm greetings to all of you. It's a great joy and privilege for me to associate myself with all of you while the Department of Commerce is thoughtfully organizing faculty development program on Fintech, the future of finance. With all of you appreciate and congratulate each and everyone who is instrumental for this to happen. Of course, always the Department of Commerce is doing a lot of good things for the benefit of the student community. These days, we are dealing with very huge, volatile, with complicated data everywhere. They're doing science or engineering, or commerce. The main objective is how to handle this high population of data for the benefit of these humankind. To take computer science, they say language, they say artificial intelligence, they say data science, they say big data analytics, and they say plenty of hands referring the data. Now, these days, we have to link mathematics, finance, commerce, accounts, even life sciences coming together to maintain all this. And recently, as mentioned, is welcome address by Dr. Nadraj, and we are the pioneer in the introduction of different programs for the benefit of students of commerce. We just make us an expertise, training them in different aspects. Of course, on this test we have illustrious academician, Dr. M. Sir, who is instrumental, and he is coming for almost all the commissions and going through the process, and he is in charge of ranking these programs. For example, recently in our campus, we have introduced BCom Professional Accounting, BCom International Accounting, BCom Strategic Finance, BO Accounting and Taxation, we have BCom Business Analytics, BCom Business Process Management, and of course, coming here we will introduce BCom Financial Technology with the help of NSE. So dear friends, it is how we have to act ourselves. The change is inevitable. We have to change, not for just for change. We change the hairstyle just for change. We change some even some dresses. Now we change, but in life, changes are inevitable. To excel, to make things comfortable. Of course, today we have illustrious academicians who have been exposed this kind of subjects. Of course, we have regular academicians of the and all of you are expertise in different fields of commerce and its applications. I'm sure this day will be memorable. You will learn everything, but we are coming from practical environment. It's going to be much theoretical. When you go into the world, we know all the difficulties, all the predicaments, all the hurdles that we have to tackle, that we have to annihilate, and we have to make comfortable. I'm sure this day is memorable for all of you. So without taking much time, perhaps I should invite Dr. Nandraj. Today is the 5th anniversary of our Bishop from Channel. We call this Consecration Day. So normally we post that the function is happening in the of the hall. Suppose between 10 o'clock, guests are coming throughout from Nagapatnam to Valpara, so it's going to take time. So therefore, I want to meet you, I want to meet you, I want to congratulate you. So once again, I appreciate, congratulate each and every aspect of the department, all members of faculty, especially NSE Academy for coming forward to have a tie-up with our college for the introduction of this new program coming up from here. Thank you so much. All the best for this year.
Thank you, sir, for igniting our minds with your words of wisdom. I request Dr. J. Lydia, Assistant Professor of Commerce, to introduce the keynote speaker.
Good morning. It's a pleasant privilege to stand before all who are attending this FTP both in online and offline. I'm indeed delighted to introduce a guest speaker of high eminence and administrative profile. We are privileged to have Mr. Abhilash Misra, an MBA from Chicago University. Currently, he is the Chief Executive Officer of NSE Academy Limited. The Academy is a wholly owned subsidiary of National Stock Exchange. His administrative profile has credentials as he was the Director of Global Outreach and Executive Education for India, Middle East and South Asian regions at University of Chicago Booth School of Business. His experience runs over 25 plus years in banking and finance sector with major contributions in the area of sales and marketing at AXA Investment, Standard Chartered Bank, ICICI Bank and Aditya Birla Group. As a joint venture expert, he has set up 3 business units and managed 2 merger and acquisition integrations. We are delighted to have you, sir, as your keynote address would enlighten and enrich our scope in academic future towards financial technology. On behalf of Commerce Department, we once again welcome you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. The floor is yours, sir.
So your mic is muted.
சார் போமா இல்லை கட்டுமா வேண்டாங்களா நம்ம ராமுக்காக
need to unmute you.
Am I audible and
Would you hear us? Our panel link
can someone kindly confirm if I am visible and audible?
Yes, audio is very hello. Amish, I mean, we are trying to unmute you, but I don't think you also need to do unmute or something. 1 minute, I'll make you as a host. Can you talk a bit so that we try to? No, we are not hearing you on the screen. Mute, you are still in mute, Abhilash. The screen is in mute. Your video is also mute and the screen is also mute. One minute. Abhilash, can you talk now? No, you are not audible. But yeah, it's unmuted for both the sides, but you are not audible. That's what it's volume increase. Okay. Abhilash, can you talk something so that we will try to test this? Hello. No, sir. Again, he discussed. Hello. Can you phone. Okay, I'll just disconnect them. You can join from.
Hello.
Can you talk?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, you're audible.
Great.
Can you talk?
Apologies everybody for this technical glitch, but such a pleasure to be part of the Pacific Way, and my sincerest gratitude and best wishes to the Bishop Heber College colleagues in Trichy. I want to say special thanks to Dr. G. Gnanaraj, Bursar and Head, Department of Commerce, Bishop Heber College, Trichy. Dr. D. Paul Dayabaran, Principal, Bishop Heber College, Trichy. And Dr. M. Selvam, Professor and Head, Department of Commerce, Bharatiya University, and my colleagues at NSC Academy, staff and colleagues at the college for bringing this conversation together. I will not stay between the experts in the area of fintech, and I'm sure most of you are eager to hear their views and expertise. But as I proudly say, NSE is the first fintech company in the country that got established 27 years back. Before fintech was a buzzword. Imagine in early 1990s, before internet was prevalent, the founding custodians of NSE, many of them from SEBI side, the development institution side, the government, Ministry of Finance, all came together and create the first demutualized exchange, the National Stock Exchange, with a layer of technology to ensure transparency, trust for the participants in the marketplace. At the core of our heart, as I said, we are a technology organization, more than 27 years at the service of the country, citizens, and also bringing in expertise for the international capital markets and financial services economy also. When we started 27 years back, we had two primary missions. The first one was bringing new generation of investors to capital markets, and second was providing those investors with fair and transparent intermediation. And this would not have been possible without the layer of technology and the area of finance and expertise that we have. So hence what the world talks about today as fintech is part of our DNA for last 27 years. It is no surprise that today we are the largest stock exchange in the country and among the top stock exchanges worldwide. We are also the largest derivative exchange in India and also the largest derivative exchange worldwide. We are often called upon by other international jurisdictions and stock exchanges, policymakers, governments to advise them on the development of the capital market infrastructure. As a regulated entity, we are also a frontline regulator. We work at ensuring that the compliance, corporate governance standards as laid down by the regulators are adhered to by the member companies that are listed on us and also the member brokers who are providing intermediation to the investors. A large portion of our efforts for last close to 27 years has been on investor education, helping investors understand the nuances of capital markets, understanding asset classes, understanding risk, and how long-term wealth creation can be done through active and sustainable long-term investments and in capital markets. It is no surprise that we also proudly call ourselves the Prosperity Exchange to the nation because our eventual goal is to provide prosperity to the citizens of the country. When we talk about fintech, the first value proposition that I see is that NSE Academy provides education, the exchange provides financial access and financial inclusion, eventually for the benefit of citizens to achieve financial freedom. We all know that whatever profession or vocation we are in, earnings minus saving is investment. I think somebody has to be on mute. There's a lot of noise.
Other university.
May I request the participants to be on mute, please? Thank you for your consideration. So I was mentioning earnings that individuals earn minus savings accounts to investments, and this investment goes in capital markets, helping the industry, the GDP, and the entire consumption cycle. Individuals also pay taxes, organizations pay taxes. So the participant into there is a lot of disturbance at the back end, please. Thank you. May I request the of participants? I'm not able to speak here.
When the host is mute all of this.
Thank you. The process of taxation also is a part of the nation building process. So our participation into capital markets and the benefit of technology to enable the access to capital markets, investments, and insurance ensures that we all as citizens are participating in the nation building process. Some of the levers that have helped the growth of the fintech industry is the penetration of the mobile devices, and internet being accessible to users across the country. The benefit of banking services to retired people and people from the marginalized part of society which don't have bank accounts also get benefit through the fintech economy. The distribution of financial products becomes faster and deeper, and also as the technology benefits the new users, the affordability of the financial products also becomes possible, and hence helping the end consumer. There's a large population in the country which is unbanked, and they don't have access to credit, they don't have access to saving instruments, they don't have access to capital, or they don't have access to even basic requirements of life insurance and health insurance and other aspects to cover life. And I think through fintech, access to savings, access to credit, reduced time and insurance become very, very possible. The social impact of fintech cannot be overlooked. Last data shows that there is close to 75% of population which has bank accounts in the country. And there are 1,500 plus fintech organizations or startups which are being supported by the industry, the government, and the investors. However, the truth remains and the fact remains that 75% of our adult population is financially uneducated. And over half of the accounts, savings accounts or zero balance accounts that are provided to these adult population are inactive, which shows there's a lot of role to play in which institutions like Bishop Heber College and NSE Academy can come together. For one is bringing financial education closer to the users and also helping them understand the value proposition that capital markets provide. And the simplest step towards this is ensuring that the bank account is active and the process of saving starts, which can eventually funnel down to investments in the marketplace. There are various benefits for the prevalence of the fintech economy. Number one is alleviation of poverty. When individuals get access to credit through self-help groups, when they can borrow at a cheaper rate, the poverty reduces. There is gender parity, women getting access to credit, employment opportunities, financial inclusion. It's a generational shift. If the women who are an integral part of any society get benefit, and hence the entire cycle of inclusion and gender parity impact, which is certainly a generation shift for even the next generation of the family members and children in that home. Microfinance, self-help groups. In fact, as part of the sustainable development goals, financial education plays a very important role to alleviate poverty and provide access to capital. It is certainly a lever in economic development as more and more people get access to savings, access to markets, investments, credit. It provides entire economic development for the country. Even eradication of hunger, for that matter, or food security, as we call it. Once the money movement happens and access to capital happens, even for small vendors, the marginalized part of society who can now earn their livelihood, the food insecurity reduces, and eradication of hunger, which is important goal as we develop a sustainable world of tomorrow. Innovation steps in. Look at the fintech organizations for various kinds of innovations today. It's not only access to savings instruments or financial instruments, but also access to credit through peer lending processes, instant loan approval for smaller amounts if you have a good credit. These are things that could not be possible without the innovation in the fintech economy. 15-20 years back, you had to actually go to a bank to borrow and put a collateral. But today, for smaller amounts, based on your credit history, this is possible. Am I audible and visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Great. My screen just froze. Sorry. Then also this provides a growth on the infrastructure development. While we can talk about the benefits that we can see from the fintech economy getting prevalent and its impact on industry as well as a society, it needs a strong mention and appreciation for a lot of the regulatory and the policy effort done by our policy makers, regulators, and the governments. I think the founding or the foundation was laid down by the National Strategy for Financial Inclusion in January 2020, putting up a framework for bringing financial technologies and future technologies for the benefit of society through financial inclusion. The PM Jan Dhan Yojana, the Atal Pension Yojana, the Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, or the Bharat interface for money Bheem, they all have created a strong foundation and framework using technology for us to not only make it available to the citizens, but also make it faster, cheaper, and affordable. And again, before closing, one important part of the CSR movement, the fintech movement, is also where the CSR funds from organizations come back to help the community in general, and a lot of CSR funds today are supporting investments in the area of fintech for the benefit of society and the community in general. Thank you so much once again for inviting me to this discussion. I wish the faculty, the staff, and the leadership at Bishop Weber College all the very best. And we are very, very privileged to be in partnership with Bishop Weber College. We will continue to work with you under your guidance and support to bring in new learning for faculty members, for students, for staff, and the community in general through our collaboration. Thank you so much once again, and wish you all the very best for the proceedings in this program.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable thoughts. The privilege indeed is ours. We really appreciate your partnership with us, sir. Now, we move on to the significant part of this FDP. Effectively, change is almost impossible without industry-wide collaboration, cooperation, and consensus. We are indeed delighted today to sign an agreement to formalize and deepen our partnership. This agreement is a significant milestone for our ongoing collaboration. I now invite the dignitaries to pursue with signing the Memorandum of Understanding between NSC Academy Limited and Department of Commerce, Bishop Weber College.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Starting point.
Thank you, sirs. We hope the goodwill and insights gained will cherish for a long time. Gaining knowledge is the first step to wisdom. Sharing it is the first step to humanity. I request Dr. H. Kavita, Assistant Professor of Commerce, to introduce Dr. Mr. Selvam.
Good morning, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the guest speaker, an efficient person, Dr. N. Selvam, heading the Department of Commerce and Financial Studies, Bharatdasan University, Trichy. He is a founder, publisher, cum chief editor of Smart Journal since 2005. He is currently the member of Senate and Syndicate, chair for School of Business Studies, coordinator of Center for Entrepreneurship and Skill Development Coordinator of Niti Aayog and Coordinator Center of Financial Market. He was a former Dean, Faculty of Management and Director in charge, UGC Academic Staff College, Bharatdasan University. Apart from this, he is also a member of professional bodies. He is a life member of Institute of Diplomatic Public, United Kingdom, London, World Economic Association, Indian Commerce Association, Indian Accounting Association, and many other leading professional bodies. He also acted as member of UGC and AICTE. He has published more than 190 research papers in various referred journals, including Scopus, and 22 chapters in edited books. Also worked on more than 8 research projects funded by UGC and ICSSR. He has authored 9 books and co-authored 13 books. Dr. N. Selvam visited many foreign countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, USA, and Dubai to present research papers in various international conferences, seminars, and also has delivered special lectures sharing his expertise knowledge. He has been instrumental to sign 5 MOUs for academic collaborations within and outside India. We are happy to have you, Mr. Sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am very happy to stand before you to share my views on a very important and memorable day in which there are 2 events. One is the faculty development program and a very important topic, Fintech, the future of finance. Another important significant event, MOU signing between 2 reputed institutions, the MSc, a national level body, and the great educational institution, Bishop Prevalence. Really, it is a good movement. And ultimately, the faculties and the students are to be benefited. And that should be the motive, that is the motive. And I appreciate the management of this great institution, particularly Professor Janaraj and his team, and NSC officials under the headship of Professor Sir Mr. Mishra, Ranganathan, Krishna Kumar, and all others, who are all instrumental and they played a very vital role in signing the MOU. Dear friends, once upon a time, the education institution, they function on their own without having any link with the industry. But today, we are compelled to have a link. Industry also compelled to have academic collaborations with the educational institution. And this is a very high level academic event, memorable event. And we need to design the courses not as per our wishes, and we have to design all courses according to the needs of the industry, which provide the employment. So therefore, change is the order of the day, and we should have a mind to accept the changes. And the changes in terms of adoption of technology is also very important. So having this in mind, I think this Commerce Department has organized the FTP, namely Fintech, the future of finance. As your principal referred, change is the order of the day. Now that we have to accept the changes. So our department also signed an MOU with NSC, and we have established a center called Center of Financial Market. Yeah, but we want to introduce as many courses as possible, but there are many other issues are there. We do afraid to introduce new courses in view of the equivalence. Yeah, Commerce Department was the first department in university not adamant to introduce income. 92 onwards, we are not for introducing income. By simple question, then all other colleges are offering income. What is the need for offering income by the university department? Then we introduced MFM. I think Lydia is very much available here. She was MFM candidate. Then there was a problem, we faced the equivalence issue. So many people went to industry, but one or two graduates, they are not able to reach to industry, then they come for us for equivalence. So after a lot of fight, then convincing the state government, we are able to get equivalence of MFM with the MCOM financial model. So that is the reason. Maybe I get MOU is possible, but introducing the new course, we have the challenge. Universities facing the challenge, and the state government and other UGC should also come out from this. I mean, with the solution to these issues. Then only the real success of these efforts may be achieved. So this is what my view. Hope we will resolve the equivalence issue. And we are also thinking of introducing some new course as designed or as expected by NSC. I hope we will achieve. So with these few remarks, I wish to share my thoughts on my thoughts on the Fintech, the future of finance. Dear friends, you are all knowing that financial technology, Fintech, refers to various financial services predominantly provided by using technology. The very purpose of using technology is to provide enhanced financial service to the customers. During the initial days, I mean, maybe in the past, technology was very specifically restricted to back office of the bank or trading firms, but they were merely used only for accounting and bookkeeping. But today it is not so. Today, the trend has totally changed. The domain of financial technology, or fintech, in short we call it, now has a broad variety of technological intervention from personal to commercial finance. I think you all agree to this. The fintech now includes a variety of financial activities using technology such as instant money transfer, QR code-based payment from smartphones, bypassing a bank. Even to apply for a loan, we do not go to the bank because the manager to apply a loan, raising the money from the business startup, or managing your investments, etc., without any assistance from anybody, any person. So there is one statistics that in the year 2022, around 82% of the finance companies, I mean the players in the finance industry, are ready to increase their partnership with fintech firms. So this is a clear evidence that there is an overwhelming response or acceptance of technology in the field of finance industry. Fintech has changed the way the people think about money, the way the people think about value of exchange in real time. The digital world, I mean to say the cashless businesses are popping up around everywhere. This forced the reluctant customers to adopt the habit of digital transactions. Besides, the payment of transfers through smartphones or even smart mobiles are also another example of fintech advancement, and many customers have already started using even mobile phone, smartphone to transfer the funds. We should know that. So more innovative way of use of technology is on the way, namely digital currency like Bitcoin, and the record keeping technology known as blockchain. Even for recording, blockchain is used. So of course, fintech not yet well integrated with our daily life, particularly the poor people, customers living in a remote area, but it would eventually change them. They will pay, they will save, or they will borrow money, or they will manage a risk, everything by using the technology. No doubt. So, my dear friends, time has come for traditional financial service players to consider fintech as a disruptive technology for their industry. The impressive technology innovation are transforming the industry from outside. But traditional players in finance industry have failed in because of non-use of technology. The fintech companies are now leading to finance industry and are creating wide range of new financial products and services with the purpose of making money management easier and more effective. My dear friends, the advancement in the area of fintech or finance industry have been happening in the lightning speed. You know the lightning speed? 186,000 miles per second. Please imagine. With that speed, the funds are transferred from one person to another person. But we have only just begun to scratch the surface of what is possible and likely to happen in the next few years. So it is no exaggeration to say that fintech is literally changing our lifestyle and habits by making it easy to trade, to bank, and exchange money without the need for physical human interaction and help. However, financial sector has many challenges to overcome, especially in the regulatory aspect. So we have the fear, our customers do have the fear we need some regulatory reforms and regulatory protection so as to use the financial technology or any technology in transferring the funds or whatever it may be. Not only in transferring the funds, but also we need regulatory reforms or protection in data protection space. As your principal pointed out, the enormous amount of population of data are in the mobile phone. So what is the protection for that? So we need some legal reforms for that also, so that only the financial players with the fintech or whatever it may be can win the trust of the customers. The trust of the customers is very, very important, so that they have to do it. Of course, our rulers or government will come out in future or soon with some regulatory reforms so as to protect or improve the, I mean to say win the trust of the customers. So I wish to conclude by saying that big data, blockchain, artificial intelligence, and many other technological advances are already in the use in finance industry, no doubt. So business leaders, on the other hand, are advised to use this as an opportunity, as a business opportunity, and adopt fintech applications in their own business model in order to be tomorrow's customers. So this is what my message, my dear friends. We are making the graduates to work in the industry, maybe in fintech industry or even finance industry, and our students should have the exposure about the fintech or what other developments, and in order to give better exposure to our students, and we should have a better exposure about the latest development and financial technology. Yes, this certainly so as to give some exposure, so that student will have better environment. So I appreciate Bishopper College and the NSC for their readiness to have a tie-up, and ultimately the students community and the young teachers should get benefited. Thank you, Honorable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your professional knowledge combined with your expertise in the field of finance and suggestions on data security. I request Mr. Ranganathan, Chief Manager, NSC Academy, to say a few words as concluding remarks of the session.
Hello everyone. First of all, thanks for everyone to be part of today's event. So this is one among the event which is a very pride for us. Just to inform you, this is Bishopper College is the first college in Tamil Nadu which is going to be introducing a course on fintech computer. Thank the whole Department of Commerce and the management of the Bishopper College. A special thanks to the principal, Dr. Paul, and also thanks to Dr. Yanaraj and sir, Salum sir, you are always not only a teacher, a guide for us also. So thanks for your thoughts and thanks for your advice. As you rightly said that fintech is a very large domain when we talk about a fintech, because fintech comprises of blockchain, machine learning, data science, or even whatever that courses that what we learn in the past. The one is that the data what we have, how are we going to use the data? So here the commerce plays majority of the role, commerce and management students. So we always say that fintech is a domain of a management or a commerce student, because all engineers can write a code, all engineers can create a program, but the business application has to come from the person those who are practicing in the business. So auditors or a commerce or a management students, both in terms of sales, retail marketing, or in finance. So they plays a major role, and you are the teachers going to teach them the future generation. So we request all of you to update yourself on the latest topics, what's happening, so that you can transfer your knowledge for the teachers. And second one is that, sir, you mentioned about the legal terms, which we call them as a red tech. Similarly, it's a fintech, it's a red tech, regulatory technologies. So just to give a background, NSC Mr. Ablash was referring that NSE started in the late 90s, 94. And NSE is the first Indian fintech company to introduce screen-based trading. So we have a thumb rule which is called technology, transparency, and trust. The moment you have a technology and the moment you have a transparency on the trade, what investors are doing, and we will get a trust from the whole community so that the new generation or the new investors can build up. So RedTech is always a part of the program that what we say. In fact, we will have a special webinars and special knowledge sharing session for the students, those who are coming under become on RedTech and also legal aspect of the fintech. So with this note, I thank everyone and congratulate Bishop College for the new initiative. We are looking forward and we are so eager to work closely with the institute on financial technologies, both in financial technologies and also in capital markets and BFS settlement. So thanks, sir. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Now it's time to break for tea. I request all our faculties to move toward the corridor. Tea is waiting for you outside. We will resume here at 11:50. Thank you for your cooperation. I solicit the guests to kindly be here itself. Tea will be served here. Online participants are also requested to join by 11:15 sharp. Thank you.
ராஜா நீதான் ராஜா பிடிச்சதை வாங்கிட்டு வந்து பருப்புயா இவனுக்கு பருப்பு பிடிக்காது ராஜா. என்ன ரோஸ் இருக்கா பிரியாவா? பஸ்ல காசு வச்சிருப்பாப்பா நீ ஏன் கொத்து விட்டாருக்கிற ஏ கண்டுபிடிச்சிட்டாங்க கண்டுபிடிச்சிட்டாப்ல ஏய் ஷாஜான் உன்னை கோத்து விடலாம்னு நினைச்சாப்ல அப்ப எது இல்லையே கார்டு போடணுமா?
Many ideas grow better when transplanted into another mind than the one where they sprang up. I request Professor Hemalata to introduce the speaker of this session.
Dignitaries and participants who are connected online and present online. It's my pleasure to introduce the distinguished guest. Bachelor degree from University, Odisha, and he is pursuing CIMA, London. He is in the field of investment finance. He is a member of two professional accounting bodies of India, namely Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He is also in charge for Yuva, vertical of Indian, Trichy. He has signed MOUs with 17 colleges. He is a member of Toastmaster International California, US. He is the secretary of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India for Trichy, Pudukkottai and Karur for the current financial year. He was a visiting faculty in ICWA chapter, Trichy, and for various colleges like St. Joseph's College, Jamal Muhammad College, and Hallmark Business School and MAM Business School. He plays the role of strategic advisor for several companies like Proper Study, Zafi Robots, Family First, and Novia Technologies Private Limited. He has written various articles and he has acted as project guide for several MBA projects. On behalf of Department of Commerce, it's a pleasure to have you here, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning. Good morning to guests here, Jandra sir, Dr. Paul, and Abhilash Misra, and Dr. Selvam, and Ranganathan sir, Krishna Rao, and other, yes, all other members. Good morning. Good morning to you here. First, I would like to talk Fintech. Okay, Fintech. How many of you believe that Fintech is a new technology? It's an interactive session. It's not practical oriented subject. Fintech is a practical oriented subject. It's not a theory subject. So be responsive. How many of you think Fintech is an old subject or new subject? New concept or old concept? How many of you think it's an old concept? Good. One. Okay. Or how many of you think it's a new concept? One, two. Come on, that's why we need to neutral. Fintech, first Fintech is done by China. That is digital currency in 1400. In 1400, China invented note currency instead of coin. That is the first Fintech. The latter, 1860, the Fintech used in later 1860, Fintech used in pen telegraph. That is digital signature or signature. Now we are calling digital signature. That time it is signature. Pen telegraph is used to understand verify the signature of the customer by bank in the US. This is a very old concept, but it is we call as a old wine in new bottle. It's a new bottle now, but it's an old wine. you mean by fintech? It's a combination of finance and technology. What do you mean by finance? Anyone? Oh, okay, financial services. What do you mean by financial services? Huh? You can take my. I can move, but this is online session. So, what do you mean by finance? Just follow me. No problem. Related to money. Okay.
One of the resources to do business.
One of the resources to do business. Okay, business பண்ணதுக்கு என்ன வேணும்? Sourcing capital. Sourcing capital எங்க இருந்து வரும்? One own fund or bank fund? So banking first. Finance and finance service first bank வருது. அப்புறம் sourcing fund அது என்ன? Loan, credit. அப்புறம் business பண்றோம். அந்த business you should insure. பண்ணோம் இல்லையா? The insurance. அப்புறம் வேற என்ன? Marketing. Marketing என்ன market? அது listing பண்ணோம். Capital market. This all together is called financial services. Activity relating to the bank, insurance, or capital market. These all put together is a financial services. Okay, finance services. What do you mean by technology? எதுக்கு technology தேவை இருக்கு? What is the need for? Simplify human thoughts. Anything else? Simplify பண்ணா போதுமா? Save time. Okay. Anything else? Finance ஒரு டெக்னாலஜி வந்து சிம்பிள் திங்ல சொன்னா நம்ம பண்ண வேலை எனேபிள் பண்ணோம் ஆர் வேல்யூ அடிஷன் பண்ணோம் ஆர் ஆட்டோமேஷன் பண்ணோம். அதான் டெக்னாலஜி. வாட் எவர் மேபி ஒரு சின்ன டெக்னாலஜி ஆனா நம்ம பண்ண வேலை எனேபிள் பண்ணோம் ஆர் ஆட்டோமேஷன் பண்ணோம். தட் இஸ் கால்ட் டெக்னாலஜி. தட் கேன் பி எனிதிங். ஈவன் a bank for a chip also is a technology. நம்ம பண்ண வேலைக்கு டெக்னாலஜி எனேபிள் பண்ணது ஆட்டோமேஷன் பண்ணது. That is technology. These two words put together is called fintech. வேற இது இல்ல. only ஒரு finance field இருக்கு அதுக்கு technology சேர்த்து பண்றாங்க. அதான் fintech. If you look at the definition also, new technology that works towards enhancing and automating the delivery and use of financial services. What we talk? Technology. Enhance பண்ணது automate பண்ணது. என்ன automate பண்ணது? our deliverable or use of financial services. Financial services திருப்பி அது வந்துரும். Banking, insurance, இந்த sectors எல்லாம். Then what is the difference between bank and fintech? Most of the people have might that okay bank fintech one only payment GPay பண்ணதா fintechல இருக்கு or Google Pay பண்ணா fintechல இருக்கு or phone pay பண்ணா fintech. No. Fintech is altogether much more. Even insurance also bank பண்றாங்க. Insurance part, but fintech is completely different. Banking purpose anadi legitimately to accept loans and giving deposits, taking loans and taking deposits and giving loans. That's the banking purpose. But fintech is not that much. Fintech is altogether on the all sectors, financial services, anything will come, fintech will include. So these all things automated and improve the delivery. First fintech services introduced in the banking sector 1860. அதுக்கான முன்னாடி 1400ல China introduce பண்ணாங்க. After that, what is the problem in China stopped ஆனா everyone அந்த பேப்பருக்கு வேல்யூ கொடுக்கல. Because there is no gold behind that. நம்ம இப்போ currency note இருக்குனா fiat note. RBI is signing that 10 rupees or 20 rupees இவ்வளவு percentage of gold will be there in RBI. Then only they can release the currency, fiat currency. At that terminology. But US is being completely different. They are completely without gold. They are printing the money. That is the reason inflation is coming now. US or circumstances, stock market reason inflation. What is the reason behind that? The reason is that US continuously printing the money. One of the main reasons. So, one of the fintech innovation technology, banking 1860 lo panadi. And the pan telegraph and our instrument பண்ணாங்க. அப்புறம் 1918ல US Federal Bank introduced US Federal Network Federal Wire and ஒரு fund electronic fund transfer பண்ணாங்க. So 1860ல one of the government company first ATM introduce பண்ணாங்க. ATM is also fintech. Instead of bank lo poi deposit பண்ணி பணம் எடுத்ததுக்கு instead of ATM lo poi பணம் எடுத்தது. That is lot of time is saving. Then evolution of fintech பார்த்தனா first credit card is 1950 ல வந்திருக்கு. Dinners Club. Then next 1960 ல first ATM வந்திருக்கு. 1970 లో ఫస్ట్ ఎలక్ట్రానిక్ ట్రేడింగ్ నాస్కార్ లో స్టార్ట్ பண்ணாங்க. 1980 లో ఫస్ట్ ఆన్లైన్ బ్రోకరింగ్ సర్వీసెస్ பண்ணாங்க. இப்போ ஜோரதா பண்ணது முன்னாடி 80 ல NSE or somewhere they did it, but only thing that time there is no investors or venture capitalist involvement இல்ல. இப்போ venture capitalist involvement எப்ப 2016 onwards வருது. எப்ப மோடி கவர்மெண்ட்ல இன்ட்ரோ듀ஸ் பண்ணாங்க ஸ்டார்ட் அப்ஸ் எல்லாமே இது பண்ணலாம். அப்பதான் ஃபின்டெக்கோட ஹைப் கிரியேட் ஆயிருக்கு. 1980s ல யூஎஸ்ல இன்ட்ரோ듀ஸ் பண்ணாங்க ஆன்லைன் பேங்கிங் வெப்சைட். And 2000 you know that PayPal, one of the $1 billion company. And 2008 ல என்ன ஆச்சு, ஃபைனான்சியல் கிரைசிஸ் வந்து. அந்த ஃபைனான்சியல் கிரைசிஸ்ல என்ன ஆச்சு, லேமேன் பிரதர்ஸ் கொலாப்ஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு. சப்ரைம் ப்ராசஸ் கொலாப்ஸ். Then they think about what is the new technologies to come. That time only blockchain technology from அப்பதான் பிட்காயின் வெர்ஷன் 2008 ல வந்திருக்கு. And 2008 లో 10 లో గూగుల్ పే స్టార్ట్ అయ్యారు. Maybe initial 2010 నుంచి 2015 Google Pay nobody knows. Adora less than maybe 5% or 2% of our cost also recover 5 years. Now paranga 100x returns were. That is the fastest growing company. Then 2019 lo pathana namakku Alibaba one recognize pannarenna, you can connect a technology called facial in face pathittu smile pathittu payment pannalam. If you see the face and okay unga account nunchi panam polam. That means that many people oda technology ellama and country China oda country la yaar irundana avanga faces or body adella recognize panni system la vechittu adu nunchi payment pona mari. I need not to enter anything. By seeing your face unga account name tag ayi automatically payment pona. That is called Ant and our organization panara. Then 2019 now everyone knows digital only banks. What do you mean by digital only banks? ஒரு பேங்க்ல நான் போக தேவையில்லை, மொபைல்ல எல்லா வேலை பண்ணலாம். அதான் டிஜிட்டல் ஓன்லி பேங்க். தென் நெக்ஸ்ட் பண்ணானா ஃபின்டெக் இன் பேங்க்ஸ். முன்னாடி பேங்க் போனது என்ன, வில் கோ டு பேங்க் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுவோம், வில் கோ டு பேங்க் அண்ட் டிபாசிட் அண்ட் வித்ட்ரா பண்ணானா வில் லைன் டுகெதர். நான் for me initially I was doing FEMA. That time என்னன்னா for transfer $500 I paid $100 as a fees. Now அது இப்படி இல்லையேப்பா, மினிமம் fees because of fintech. முன்னாடி எல்லாமே ப்ரொப்ரைட்டரி ஆப் இருக்கும். SBI ல போனோம், ICICI பேங்க்ல போனோம். இப்போ அப்படி இல்லை. இப்போ டோட்டல் அதர் பேங்க்ஸ் ஆல்சோ கொலாபரேட் பண்ணும். SBI card and can be withdrawn in ICICI bank or any other bank. இப்போ cross industry partnership also they are doing. Cross industry partnership Bajaj Finserv is tying up with the SBI. That is cross industry. Bajaj Finserv company is not a banking, it's an insurance company, but bank together. Then next payment gate networks. Payment networks, what are the payment networks in India? Anyone can tell? Payment networks. Huh?
IFPS.
Payment network na adilla. Payment network kanana namakku enna idi Visa or otherwise Rupee payment network. Then lending and credit platforms. Ipo pathana ipo bills munadi enna we oru X is a customer, Y is a vendor. He will come to customer or vala panni bill kudura. Bill kudura appo enna adu, he has to wait for 30 days. And the 30 days wait பண்ணாதனா ஒரு டெக்னாலஜி வந்துருக்கு, RX7 Receivable Exchange of India. அவங்க என்ன பண்றாங்க, இந்த பில் எடுத்துட்டு டிஸ்கவுண்ட் பண்றாங்க. எல்லா பில் எடுத்துட்டு அவர் மட்டும் பண்ணல, இஸ் an aggregator. அந்த RX7 ல 10 banks will come and who is the lowest bank, the vendor will take that. முன்னாடி என்ன 10 பேங்க் ஒரு பேங்க் போய் நான் பில் டிஸ்கவுண்ட் பண்ணலாம். இப்போ டெக்னாலஜி has come that such a way that 10 பேங்க் நான் போக தேவையில்லை, ஒரு ஆள் இருக்காரு RX7. He will come and give it the bill to that he will quote all banks or quotes one. எந்த பேங்க் லோ போஸ்ட் வந்து அந்த போட்டு Then next, in the payment services, payment initiation services, studies progress. And account information services. முன்னாடியெல்லாம் account statement எடுக்கணும்னா பேங்க்ல போய் நம்ம ரிக்வெஸ்ட் கொடுக்கணும், அப்ளிகேஷன் கொடுத்தா அவர் 1 வீக் அப்புறம் கொடுப்பாரு. இப்ப on spot in your mobile you are taking. This is the banking sector. In the banking sector, do you believe that bank will be there after 10 years? First na கேள்வி. எத்தனை பேர் believe பண்றாங்க bank will be there after 10 years? Okay, 20 years let's go. How many people are believe that bank will be there? Just raise your hands. That's enough. How many people are believing? Okay, how many people are believing that bank will be there after 20 years? Different form. Okay. But how many employees will be there? Next question. Okay, different form. Next, how many employees will be there?
10% of the current situation.
Maybe 90% என்ன ஆகுங்க? 90 online and okay. What about 90%? 90 people. You people are teaching them to get job. The fintech and use பண்றவங்க, you people are creating job for them. 90% you are doing the job through your course. If நீங்க இந்த course complete பண்ணல and suggestion you are not done னா 90% job இருக்காது. No doubt on that. You are creating ahead of 20 years. முன்னாடி அந்த 10 years அப்புறம் பேங்க்ல என்ன நடக்கும்னு this course ki and NSC எல்லாமே பார்த்துட்டு they are giving job to that students. That is the impact you are doing. I wonder actually. Our Tirchi Tier 2 city lo fintech and become an I wonder actually. First time I close to Disab and NSC. They did a very good job. And you too also. You are creators in fact.
Generally, there is a need in technology. Reduces the job opportunity. For a small section, they will give some skill and they will get the job.
Yes, sir.
Country like India, then we welcome the technology. Of course, enhance the service okay.
Sir, அப்படி இருந்தானா இந்தியாவில் இப்போ இருக்க சிச்சுவேஷன்ல தமிழ் నుంచి துபாய் போனாங்க roughly 25%, sir. Why they are doing? Because they have
job market.
It's not why you are considered as a India alone. You consider the global place. அப்போ ஒரு job opportunity இருக்கு. இங்க இல்ல, பட் வேற கண்ட்ரில இருக்கும். அது வேற ஸ்டேட்ல இருக்கும். So how many people are thinking? As per my knowledge, 10 years அப்புறம் பேங்க்ல 5% people will be there, 95% காலி. The blockchain technology will consider completely wipe out. நீங்க பாத்துக்கோங்க 1960s we have a currency, fiat currency. 1970s 80s வந்து credit card. 90s credit card வந்துச்சு, 90s அதனா இன்டர்நெட் வந்து. இப்போ 2010 onwards இது cryptocurrency. Then this technology is changing. Every 20 years technology is changing. But no doubt on that. Another, if Modi government, that's the reason they have blocked the 30% tax in last year budget. The cryptocurrency 30% tax for the reason, and they know that if they allow, definitely almost most of the jobs will go up. But I do risk it. You need to change accustomed to scenario. The banking law. Okay. Stock market. How many are interested in stock market? Okay. How many are interested in mutual funds? Raise fund. Okay. How many are interested? Okay. முன்னாடி ஒரு ஸ்டாக் மார்க்கெட்ல பண்ணணும்னா we need to account open பண்ணனும், பேங்க்ல போய் எல்லாம் சப்ளை பண்ணனும். இப்போ அப்படி இல்ல. Within 15 minutes now you can get a stock market. And NSC also done a lot of improvement. அவங்க சைட் பார்த்தாங்கன்னா முன்னாடி எல்லாம் சைட்ல டேட்டா வரணும்னா ரொம்ப டிலே ஆகும். Because I was till now last 11 years I was an account in bank option எல்லாமே இருக்கு. We have separate இங்கே இருக்கு. ஆனந்த் ஸ்ரீனிவாசன் சாரோட கோர்னர். Okay. So we have separate wing. So அப்போ பார்த்ததுக்கு இப்போ பார்த்ததுக்கு எவ்வளவு இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன் இருக்கு. நீங்க இப்போ பார்க்கணும்னா you need not be a finance guy. Even you can generate a report from lot of websites like Ticket, Screener போய் நீங்க உங்களுக்கு என்ன வேணும் ஜெனரல் லாங்குவேஜ்ல போட்டானே உங்களுக்கு கொடி வந்துடும், உங்களுக்கு ஆன்சர் வந்துடும். And you can see a lot of videos also, public YouTube and public videos also. In the stock market, if on the level of fintech is implemented. Stock edge and one screener. Screener, you can do anything. So, முன்னாடி எல்லாமே இப்போ இதுக்கு மேல இப்போ Reliance Industries என்ன பண்ணிருக்காங்க? Reliance Industries invested in one company called VTAR, in UK based company recently. $35 million and use பண்ணிருக்காங்க. அது என்ன commodity trading. இந்த stock market lo automated robot வச்சிட்டு commodity trading நடக்கும். இறங்கிச்சேன்னா அந்த perception எடுத்து automatically இது பண்ணுது. Why people are investing this much in stock market? Algo trading. Algo trading, even small players. But algo trading also robotic trading, funny robotic processing applications for it. M4 and one also very good. But these all things are fintech. Munadi stock exchange now, you got a time to work now. They will work entire night and shift. 4:30 goes from 5:30, they are going home. The Mumbai exchange also 5:30 4 Munadala night together or shift madri irukum. Am I right, sir?
By 6 o'clock, all the bus will depart.
Okay.
So no employees after except security should be there.
Okay. Munadi adhe or 10 years or 20 years before, 3 shift madri irukum. To prepare for next day.
Make people to work from the home office. So we close the exchange, but exchange is not closed virtually. Virtual exchange was working, but people work from the home.
Correct. So, if I put this on the report, prediction 1 year in the stock and the 1 year they are taking also promoter share and PE ratio and earning per share ratio. They are fundamental analysis and technical analysis on the chart path in the support level. The support level prediction. That is the level. Munadi in the Mali Yosel, maybe 15 years back, no one or even a college student can tell that, okay, the support level. Or now what's the support level? It is EPS and packet level. That is the concept of fintech. On the level of stock market implemented. One of the best if I market share, zero one of the best. And grow on the they are the best. Because they zero discount. You need not to pay anything for entering a stock market.
See, you was government to colleges. As students can practice all not only investment broking, also the skilled aspect of the broking firm.
Okay.
Without any cost thrown from the firm. We give a virtual money for the student for practicing.
Okay, virtual money.
We call them as a need term.
Need term.
Need is a core term which NSC use. Now they are going to colleges.
Okay, good actually.
IIMs and everyone is having. IIMs also installations.
So this much technology used. The technology used in the level of services, in the level of the next one, education, edutech. Edutech, how many people are thinking that edutech foreign country or Stanford, maybe my daughter or a daughter definitely will study in India. India Stanford real course also augmented reality. Okay, Facebook has invested roughly, I think, 4.5 billion in 2014 itself. Meta, they call it as Meta. Now Facebook has committed to Meta. So education or school or student or master primary or electricity. After COVID. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ தேவை ஆகும். இப்போ இதே வெச்சுக்கோங்க. Zoom lo 56 people are there. இதெಲ್ಲ தேவை. So technology is changing. And நம்ம also அதை change பண்ணி வரணும். Otherwise lay off நடக்கும். Next 1 week before Baidu has lay off roughly 8,000 people. Baidu and Meso. Baidu is a very good platform. Why they lay off? Technology risk இருக்கு. Because they recorded all sessions. Syllabus எல்லாமே default ஆயிடுது. Dynamic syllabus இல்லை. 1 to 10 dynamic syllabus இல்லை. 5 years தான் change ஆகுது. So whoever is there, they recorded sessions and they move. அதான் நடக்குது. Otherwise, how come ஒரு faculty and already or knowledgeable person எப்படி remove பண்ண மாதிரி வருதுன்னா they recorded, replicated the process. Then இந்த டெக்னோ முன்னாடி எல்லாமே டெஸ்ட் கேரியர் இதுக்கு அப்புறம் இப்போ ஸ்டெம் வருது. STEM organization. In Trichy also robotics company that is called Prevalence Technologies. They are very good in STEM organization. Okay? If management wants, I will definitely connect to them. They are very good in education students. The government type and area roughly 2,000 schools they are connected. So அவங்க என்ன பண்றாங்கன்னா இந்த கேரியர்ல என்ன பண்றாங்க ஸ்கூலே போக தேவையில்லை அந்த மாதிரி அந்த லெவல்ல டெக்னாலஜி டெவலப். Then education முன்னாடி எல்லாம் என்ன சேஞ்சுக்கு 2014ல சேஞ்சுக்கு we are not interested. 16 வந்த அப்புறம் ஓகே 3-4 பேர் ஒரு சிஸ்டம் பார்க்கலாம்னு நினைச்சோம். 18 வந்த அப்புறம் ஓகே அதோட 18 தான் வெஞ்சர் கேபிட்டலிஸ்ட் இன்வெஸ்டட் லாட் ஆஃப் மணி. அப்பதான் இந்த ஃபின்டெக் ஓட வேல்யூ இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகுது. ஃபின்டெக் ஓட மதிப்பு எப்போ வருது 18 தான். I'll tell you later on how much investment has India done. Okay, how many unicorns are there, semicorns are there. Then last time cloud 20 cloud வருது. Even 21ல என்ன ஆகும் ஒரு வீட்ல இருந்துட்டு எல்லா ஸ்கூலுக்கு போகாத மாதிரி அந்த லெவல்ல எஜுகேஷன் வருது வாய்ப்பு. They will do best because they replicate the process. And 28ல என்ன ஆகும் completely டெக்னாலஜியா மாறிடும். My virtual reality ல வரும். உங்க டீச்சர் உங்க கண்ணு முன்னாடி இருக்க மாதிரி. That is only trying Meta. Meta try பண்ணது அதான் இப்போ. Meta is trying Facebook I think so. Okay. Insurance sector who are insurance la enna மாதிரி changes in fintech பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Insurance. Munadi insurance how many are done insurance in LIC? Majority people, right? Now how many people are interested in doing in LIC? Now, why? Privatization illa. I think that is security. Even privatization is security. That's not a problem. But the level of interaction with the customer and the company is much reduced. User experience. LIC lo claim settlement panna all time meet panna. If claim settlement anu policy bazar lo poi click panna claim settlement automatically avanga vandu rendu time call panni moodavathu naal panam kodukra. And company nee visit panna. And company nee pole. Car insurance munadi ellame you used to take 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. Now 18,000 pudu karike varthu insurance. Town insurance munadi ellame 1 lakh 1 crore echunna we have to pay a lot of money. Now 10,000 kutta adapadiye town insurance varthu subject to age. This all why competition increase and fintech on the level invention vandukku. Munadi ellame insurance company na only insurance mattum kodupaan. Ipo in insurance car insurance company even car damage ana car and stop aayachana and support also kodukra. That is cross industry support. Then ipo pudusa enna changing the channels. For a distributor irundana other products also insurance kondu varana. For example na or loan edutha I am taken a loan, but for that loan normal insurance irukadu. If I can take a loan insurance edukra. That is changing. Underwriting by machines. Underwriting and very companies go for underwriting. Okay, risk in the time. For example, or company BHL Reliance, they have risk for maybe or Jamnagar factory, they have risk for 50,000 crores. I think underwriting go no. 3-4 banks vandu do panna. Ad underwriting yarum banks they have machine la pandranga. Then raise for flexible product. Simple pudu products. Munadi ella term insurance type. Term insurance plus normal investment also include pandra. And life insurance lo lot of emerging products. Munadi or body life insurance and body ku mattum panna. Ippemo even a single finger you can do. Even you can do insurance for the nail. this level of fintech company in insurance sector, on the level of insurance, people are aggressively doing it.
Our development is there. No insurance for cancer, sir. So many developments are coming.
Actually, at the towns for a time, no, I'm a cracker for
Even
sir,
developed countries like US doesn't support cancer.
sir, cancer
What is the
support.
innovation? What is the use?
Sir, that's true, sir. Cancer support பண்ணானே cancer யாரு create பண்ணானா அந்த industry create பண்ணது.
Do you want to?
No, actually, what you are eating, most of the things pesticide and the fertilizer in the eat பண்றோம். Even A to Z. Automatically, அது for 10 years அப்புறம் automatically it create a problem. So they simply excluded. Specific பண்ணான insurance companies இருக்கு sir. Cancer also include பண்ண பண்ணுவோம். Specific இருக்கு. Even COVID also a lot of people what happened, they have insurance, but insurance COVID ல பண்ண முடியாது. You can't do it. Then blockchain technology. யாரேனா blockchain technology అనేది it's a new concept, okay? 2008 లో ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணது. cryptocurrency का பண்ணது. First initially cryptocurrency stage ல பண்ணாங்க. Normally ஒரு accountingலன்னா அது ஒரு ledger இருக்கும். Debit credit இருக்கும். இது ஒரு accounting மாதிரி தான் கிரியேட் பண்ணாங்க. blockchain technology. Nothing but it's shared and unmuted. Immuted. என்னன்னா அது tamper பண்ண முடியாது. அந்த மாதிரி ledger. And the ledger, they will give it into system. Okay, அது எதுக்கு யூஸ் பண்றாங்கன்னா facilitate the processing of recording a transaction. ஒரு transaction record பண்ணணும். I gave ஒரு transaction ஒரு entry நான் போஸ்ட் பண்ணி இங்க அங்க போதனா அது ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணதுக்கு பண்ணாங்க. Then track the asset of business network. இதுக்கு தான் பர்பஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணாங்க blockchain technology. But this blockchain technology, initially we thought that only financial transaction mattum varum, but now it is completely bypass மாதிரி வருது. Even a smart contract can do, even an underwriting contract can be do in a blockchain technology. Even a single transaction will be tamper ஆகும். How it works blockchain technology? ஒரு transaction enter பண்றோம். Okay, A to B. Sir, நான் ஒரு 10 ரூபா $10 I'm sending to sir. நான் சென்ட் பண்ண டைம்ல it will go to peer to peer system. ஒரு கம்ப்யூட்டர் இதுல போகும். போன அப்புறம் என்ன ஆகும்? They will இந்த டிரான்சாக்ஷன் கரெக்ட் authenticity மட்டும் செக் பண்ணுவாங்க. Then it will go to node. Node అనేది distributed circulated. இது means millions of computers will be connected to node. அந்த நோட்ல என்ன ஆகும்னா இந்த டிரான்சாக்ஷன் போய் என்டர் ஆகும். என்டர் ஆன அந்த டிரான்சாக்ஷன் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க? பேங்க்ல என்ன பண்றாங்க? இவர் பக்கத்துல பணம் இருக்கா? ஏசி நார்ம்ஸ் இருக்கா? இவர் அத்தன்டேஷன் கொடுத்துருக்காரு அது செக் பண்ணுவாங்க. அது வெரிஃபை என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க? தேர்ட் பார்ட்டி நோடு ஒரு கம்ப்யூட்டர் சிஸ்டம் நோடு வெரிஃபை பண்ணுவாங்க. ஒன்ஸ் வெரிஃபை பண்ணிட்டாங்கன்னா அங்க నుంచి வேற ஆளு அவர் பக்கத்துல ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணது அக்கௌண்ட் ஆல்சோ வெரிஃபை பண்ணுவாங்க நோடு. இந்த ரெண்டும் மெர்ஜ் ஆன அப்புறம் ஒரு பிளாக் கிரியேட் ஆகும். ஒரு பிளாக் வந்து நத்திங் பட் கீ 64 டிஜிட் கீ ஆல்பாபெட் யூனிக் கீ அது கிரியேட் ஆகி அந்த பிளாக் கிரியேட் ஆன அப்புறம் இந்த பிளாக் கிரியேட் ஆன இந்த நோட் வேலிடேட் பண்ண அப்புறம் போய் எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் பிளாக்ல இருக்கும். ஏபிசிடி ஒரு 4 பிளாக்ஸ் இருந்தாங்கன்னா இந்த சி பிரேக் ஆகும். C1 C2 புதுசா வந்தது C1 நினைச்சுக்கோங்க. எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் பழைய இருக்கு C2. அந்த C1 C2 பிளாக் ஆகும். அப்ப ஏபிசி C1 C2 D கம்ப்ளீட் நோடா கம்ப்ளீட் ஆயிடும். ஒன்ஸ் அது கம்ப்ளீட் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா அதை டேம்பரே பண்ண முடியாது. அதுதான் பிளாக்செயின் டெக்னாலஜில என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க? ஒன்ஸ் யூ என்டர்ட் எனி டிரான்சாக்ஷன் அது டேம்பர் ஆகாது. என்எஸ்சி சொன்ன இதுதான் டிரான்ஸ்பரன்சி, ட்ரஸ்ட், ஒன் மோர் திங் தி வாட் யூ டு அண்ட் டெக்னாலஜி. அந்த மூணு பில்ட் தான் பிளாக்செயின் டெக்னாலஜி பண்றாங்க. ஸோ ஒன்ஸ் அது கம்ப்ளீட் ஆயிடுச்சு அந்த டிரான்சாக்ஷன் என்னன்னா இட் வில் கோ டு பர்மனன்ட் ஃபைல் லெட்ஜர். It will not be there. So that is the basis of blockchain technology. இப்போ நம்ம என்ன ட்ரையல் இருக்கும், எதை நம்ம எடிட் பண்ணதுக்கு இருக்கும், அந்த மாதிரி எந்த சான்சஸே இருக்காது. ஸோ ஓவரால் பார்த்தானா பிளாக்செயின் டெக்னாலஜி ஃபியூச்சர் இருக்கும், ஆனால் இருக்கும் நோடோட. எதுக்கு என்னன்னா பீப்புள் ஆர் பட் கிரிப்டோ கரன்சி ஃபியூச்சர் இருக்கா வந்து ஐம் நாட் ஷியோர். பட் எதுக்குன்னா நம்ம ஒரு ஸ்டாக் மார்க்கெட் இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்றோம்னா we have an underlying asset. ஒரு கம்பெனி இருக்கு, ப்ராஃபிட் வருது, இது இருக்கு. பட் கிரிப்டோ கரன்சில there is no asset, underlying asset இருக்காது. ஒரு பேர் தான் பிட்காயின் and பேர் தான் இருக்கும். அதுக்கு people are investing, people are taking money. But only thing that you can know that யாருக்கு ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணிட்டேன் எங்க ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணிட்டேன்னு தெரியும் அவ்வளவுதான். அண்ட் சேஃப்டி இருக்கும். அண்ட் ஒன் மோர் திங், கிரிப்டோ கரன்சி, இஃப் யூ லாஸ் யுவர் பாஸ்வேர்ட் கான், அவ்வளவுதான். ஸோ இப்போ பார்த்தாங்கன்னா ஓவரால் இது roughly 4,821 active fintechs in India from 16 onwards. Market capitalization 1.2, 1.3 trillion dollars. That's amount 2025. So if roughly it is roughly $500 billion per year market capitalization. And funding for last 5 years funding $20 billion funding for it. And opportunities future la irukkuvaana $43 billion opportunities irukku innu vandade irukku. And the number of so-cons anana going to be unicorn. Adi sorry anana there may be $500 million company or andha madri companies kallame roughly 22 companies irukku. How much penetration of internet fintech companies is going? 60%, 61%. People are agreeing that because of internet, 5G was no internet impact last year. And till now, in the 4 years, how many unicorns are India? 19 companies are unicorn, like Byju's or Paytm. In the Madri companies, 19 companies are done. And till now, what are the fundraising? $6 billion of fund raised for companies. Then what you saw is saying that regulatory in the regulatory sector anadi no growing stage there, completely world. Then insurance also, it's a tip of iceberg. Okay, only 4% people are having insurance. The top companies pathana idlo nam India la na pathana Razorpay, Zerodha, LinkedIn, Paytm, and small case, and BharatPay. Then CoinDX on the Bitcoin order trading exchange. Then what happened in 21 and roughly $9 billion are raised. That is year to year 200% growth in fintech companies. And 21 alone 12 unicorns are introduced. A unicorn nothing but 7,000 crores. If it is 8,000 crores, so $7,800, 7,800 crores for company valuation unicorn. So, on the Mali companies, 12 companies are introduced. And PayU another company is PayPal Mali company is bought $4 billion of builders company, mobile bill builders company, the company the BharatPay another bank company, PNC banks, and the IPOs Nadia. And what happened in future? And in the momentum qualified, because it's early bird. And most of the net internet neo banks and children banks, their regulations is there, regulations banks and continue with the partnership with the banks. What is the trend of banking law? Mostly open banks and digital only banks. And bank staff even bank license office completely complete banking transaction. And biometric security device allowing face recognition, smile to pay, and adi varadi India varadi white. Then RegTech regulations law for nama India lo nariya cases pending irukku, Supreme Court, High Court. If you introduce this technology, definitely cases 50% of cases survey 50 to 60% will go on. Then robot processing applications, RPA and robot processing applications. Robot continuously work on. Okay, now the COVID law, one of the Tirchi startup has done what is that? KNC and Apollo robot Tirchi. And the robot medicines automatically patients because of COVID. Doctor code and camera, so they will go and verify technology. That is a number of India. Then blockchain technology, already we talked. Then artificial intelligence and machine learning. These are the things future the expert in fintech. Then overall, one thing I can say that fintech in the job in my opinion is not like that. Fintech Definitely. For example, you go in a bank and sit for 2 hours, how you feel? How you feel? You feel very bad. And the moment, and the time save, then we need to change. And the change in the adaptability. Unless you change the adaptability, you can't do anything. And this is overall, Patana. I have taken a background of this complete session. Okay. Fintech and a subject and a practical subject. It's not a theoretical subject. No doubt, and none of this is compared to it. It's not about within a 2 minutes. But background, so many codes are there, so many entries are there. I verify so practical subject is where you learn. Okay, Fintech in the technology you can online students maybe skill academy or NSC or otherwise Udemy and software Udemy and courses or MIT also international organizations also they're giving the free of cost seed funding Stanford also giving free of courses. Fintech students in free of you may tie up with Stanford also. Seed and program. With this, I would like to thank. Any questions you can let me know. And this is my number, and this is my what I can help you people. Any fintech combination we have roughly why young Indians are planning entrepreneurship for roughly 5,000 students, 5,000 entrepreneurs all over India, including they have roughly 57 chapters. We can connect any people on fintech technology, even local or
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your presentation on emerging trends of fintech in all financial and non-financial sectors, which will help us to trigger new ideas that will benefit our institution, sir. We appreciate, sir. Thank you. I solicit Professor Ruth Felicia to introduce the speaker of the next session.
Pleasant morning to the August gathering, attending this FTP both online and offline. I'm much delighted to introduce the technical speaker online, Ms. Komal Kular, who is an executive in sales distribution and customer service in SPM Bank. She has completed her master's in commerce and MBA finance, a qualified chartered associate from the Indian Institute of Banking and Finance. In 2021, she upskilled herself in artificial intelligence and machine learning by completing a 2-year dual certification PG program at the Great Lakes Institute of Management and MC Com's School of Business, Texas. She is a business leader with proven excellence in banking and financial services with 19 plus years of experience spanning most of the discipline in retail, commercial and MSC banking, wealth management, digital initiative, and transformation. She started her career with ICICI Bank and have worked with other large banks like Kotak Mahindra Bank, HDFC, and currently working in SPM Bank, India, which is a new age bank and leads the local sales and distribution in her current role. We are honored to have you with us, ma'am. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, ma'am, for introducing me to the audience. Before I get into the presentation, I would like to thank the authorities at the college and National Stock Exchange Academy for giving me this opportunity to be present in front of all of you and take you through the progress that banking has made from moving into from banking into the space of financial technology. So my endeavor is to share my knowledge and experience across the space of branch banking to a digital banking space, and now venturing into the space of financial technology. So let me just take you through the session. So I have a small request. If anyone has any questions, request you to please pen those down. Towards the end of the session, I'll be more than happy to answer your queries.
Sure, ma'am, sure.
So we just get into the session. So this is about fintech, the future of finance. So all of us know that we are moving into the space from physical banking to financial technology. I'll run through the slides to show you how banking has progressed from traditional banking space to moving into online banking space, and then something called financial technology space, which is fintech. So this slide is talking about the evolution of our Indian banking system, how we have seen it to move. Most of us may not have seen the pre-independence period or a post-independence period up to a particular time span. However, when banking moved into a nationalization, post-nationalization period or a liberalization period, most of us must have witnessed it. When we are talking about a pre-nationalization period, it was a time when there were only one or two banks. Post-nationalization period is when we relate, most of us relate to something called large banks of the nature, which was State Bank of India. So all of you will remember banking with State Bank of India after the nationalization period, when banking meant banking with the public sector banks. So there would be large count of branches for State Bank of India, like State Bank of Mysore, State Bank of Hyderabad, State Bank of Travancore, so on and so forth. So all of us could only relate to a bank which meant State Bank. In the nationalization period, we saw introduction of other public sector banks as well, which included Punjab National Bank, Canara Bank, Union Bank of India, United Bank, and lots of other names would come to your mind when you would think of banking at that point in time. Then came a liberalization period, which was basically moving away from public sector banking to a private sector banking. So then the names of the likes of HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Axis Bank started coming to picture, where you could think that banking also meant something other than a state bank. So at that point in time, also banks mostly relied upon the service domination. The differentiator was only service. A public sector bank and a private sector bank was only differentiated from the point of view of the service that the bank would be providing. Today, we have actually progressed left. Even the private sector banks are behind us now, and we are moving into something which is digital banking. So the whole idea of this presentation is to take you through how digital banking has transformed the financial services space, and how fast are we moving ahead. Every day changes are happening in the financial services industry, and how fast are we moving from physical banking to completely digital space. So this, I have already given you a perspective about what type of banks we have encountered in the pre-independence, post-independence, pre-liberalization, post-liberalization periods. Now something which has taken up a little bit of our attention in the last few years has been small finance bank and payment banks. So when we talk about payment banks, I've tried to give you an example of what type of payment banks you will see. Paytm is a kind of payment bank, which is not having a full-fledged banking license, but it is working to offer the elementary services to the clients. What will be those elementary services? You go to a Paytm application, make an account on Paytm, create your wallet using the Paytm services. You do now Paytm, in fact, Paytm, Airtel, they were also offering for a while only the savings accounts to be opened to individuals. So there are very elementary services being offered by them, but they are not a full-fledged banking platform. So there are certain examples which are shared in terms of what the payment banks are and what type of services they are using at the moment, or offering to the customer, so to say, at this moment. So small finance banks are also, to name a few of them, you will relate to AU Small Finance Bank, Jana Small Finance Bank. I mean, so I'm taking the names and giving you examples to make you relate to the typical banking structure in India at this moment also, while we are moving very fast in the space of digital space too. So then we actually get into the digital era. So in the last 5 years, or you can say in the last decade, we have actually moved very fast into digital banking arena. So when I talk about digital banking, so it is today's digital banking is very different from what we used to call digital banking, say about 10 years ago, early decade, starting from 2010 to now. It is even the digital banking, the face of digital banking has changed a lot. So when we talk about digital banking, when it started, it only had restricted itself to something called paperless banking. We do not want to use paperwork. We do not want to do any paperwork. We are moving from paper to the digital platforms. When we talk about digital platforms, it only meant internet banking, mobile banking. In fact, mobile banking also came very late in comparison to internet banking. So mostly paperless banking meant that customers are not coming to the physical bank branches, but they are doing their transactions on digital platforms, which primarily meant internet banking. I remember the times when we really had to push the customer to move from a physical bank transaction to using an internet platform. And there were banks who were struggling because there were not too many options available to the customer to be used on the internet banking. You could only do elementary transaction. Maybe you could only see your account balance. Maybe you could only do the inquiry of the statement of account. But today, on the net banking platform, banks claim that anybody can do up to 250 transactions, 300 transactions, or you may say, in other words, on internet banking, you can do any and every transaction other than visiting the bank branch for depositing the cash or withdrawal of cash. For that also, banks have come up, banks or financial institutions or the new platforms which are now coming up have introduced ATM cards, so that the movement of the customer to the physical location of the branch presence is even reduced further. So banking has transformed from traditional to digital, which means use of digital platforms. It has transformed from physical to online, which means people today do not prefer to visit the physical location of the bank branch. They want to use the digital channels and electronic mode. Then it is also so what is that is pushing digital banking? What initially started to make people understand that they need to use digital banking? It was about convenience. It was about 24/7 availability. Then came the introduction of our smartphones, our mobile devices, which further fostered the growth and use of digital channels by the customers. So it slowly started to increase the trust of the customer into the use of digital banking services. Okay, when we look at this slide, most of you will be using these services which are available to all of us in today's time. And in my discussion, I said something like a bank card or an internet banking was a very initial start of banks or financial services institutions to start providing us the experience of digital banking. So when we spoke about, I would be repeating myself when I say that banks had to make a lot of effort to convince the customers at a point in time to use the bank cards and not come to the bank branch for withdrawing cash. So there has been a lot of effort in terms of from the banks and financial institutions end as well, to make the customer experience and travel the journey from physical branch banking to more or less and online space. And as we progress in the slides, you will see that we have come way ahead of what basics of online banking we are talking about at this point in time. So bank cards, all of us are aware of. So this is about ATM cards, now credit cards. Most of us are using credit cards for our purchases, for merchant, for travel. Financial institutions are offering a lot of reward points on the credit cards to encourage the usage, to make sure that the customer experiences. Obviously, benefit is one way of looking at it, that rewards are a benefit that the customer is getting. At the same time, the banks, the motivation of the bank to offer it to the customer is primarily on account of encouraging the usage of the plastic, so that people experience what it is. And of course, the overall motivation of the government-led initiatives and financial institutions and Ministry of Technology is to eventually move to a paperless and faceless kind of a banking. And there should be a scenario when people are only using bank accounts and no cash should be actually encouraged for usage. So internet banking, we have already spoken about. It is a 24/7 service which is mostly available by all the banks now, offered by all the banks to everybody at any corner, wherever you are. You can just log into the website of the bank and see your account. I made a mention that these days 5 transactions, you can view just 5 things, you can view just 10 things is the thing of the past. Now you can do everything on net banking other than depositing cash. So you want to book a fixed deposit, you can just go online, book a fixed deposit. I remember the times people would come to branch, they would want to sit across, get the fixed deposit receipt printed. At that very moment, physical fixed deposit receipts will be couriered to the customers. So everything has totally stopped. You can book. This is just an example. So there are multiple examples across the use of internet banking, which will tell you how net banking usage has grown over a period of time and how it has attained the acceptability from customer point of view also, in terms of using net at any point in time to do the transactions at their own level. So they are the owner of their own account than being dependent on the bank. Mobile banking came quite late when in comparison to internet banking. So then smartphones got introduced when each one of us, I'm sure the entire audience sitting right now will have some banking application on their phone. So now our dependence is not even on our desktop or the laptop. We can just use our handset, log into the bank application, and then do whatever transaction we want to do, whether it is transfer of fund to a friend, do a merchant transaction, do a inquiry on our account, want to check whether my account is debited or credited. I mean, the money has come in or has moved out. So anything is available just on a click of a button right now. So the whole audience will have some banking application, some payment bank application available on their mobile for usage while we speak at this time. So mobile banking totally changed the face of banking largely when it came to usage of digital channels by the customers. So in the current recent past, we have also seen a lot of movement in this space with the introduction of unified payment interface. So unified payment interface is also a real-time payment system, which you can use for making payments to the merchants. And UPI also is replacing the POS machines. Most of you will go to the merchant and swipe your card. So if you don't have a card, you don't know what is to be done. So UPI is giving you access to your bank account linked to the application, which enables you to make payment to your friends, to your family, to merchants online at that very moment. So this is the kind of transition that has happened from cards to a UPI. So they are not a replacement of each other, or they are not a substitute for each other. But of course, these are channels and instruments and tools which are being introduced by banks and financial services institutions as a journey towards moving from physical banking to digital banking space. So this chart will also take you through almost the same thing that is written over here. So when you're using digital banking, you can also take online loan. Mobile banking we have talked about. Online transactions we have spoken about, whether it is fixed deposit booking or fund transfer or whatever transaction you can think of. Digital money, you must have heard a lot about Bitcoins these days. I just entered the slide, then I went through certain Bitcoin companies being spoken about, like Coin, DCX, etc. So this is something which is now digital money. You must have heard about central bank digital currency program, which is now underway. So even RBI is looking at introducing its digital currency in the market. So possibly there will be no physical cash movement, and we will be at a stage when we are only transacting through coins, digital coins and Bitcoins, once the regulations are better crystallized in times to come. So this is not far, the work is already underway. Online support, we have contact centers. A lot of you must be calling banks. When you see IVRs, interactive voice responses, so you're not dealing with a person, there is online support available. Now there is a new thing which you will possibly be seeing. When you enter into the website of any bank, you see a window which automatically opens and talks to you saying, may I help you? So we have moved from a IVR, which is interactive voice response, where phone goes on, you dial this, you dial that, and there is a waiting time for you, to talking to a computer. When you just say ICICIbank.com, a window opens which talks to you and says, may I help you? So if you were searching for example, how to open an account with ICICI Bank, so it will ask you if I can help you on what is your requirement on the savings account. So you punch in 2 questions and the computer screen only interacts with you. So that is the kind of transition that is happening in the digital space on online support mechanism. So we will discuss in the slides what works behind the scenes when this type of a technology is being brought to the fore for customers to experience the same. Online security, online banking, we've been talking about all through. Online security is basically when we are getting into digital, when we are using internet banking, when we are using mobile banking, then there are technology threats. It is all related to internet. It is all related to technology. So the banks are spending a lot of money, lot of expertise, lot of time when it comes to strengthening the security norms for usage of various channels. So cyber security, risk assessment, all of that the banks are doing at this moment while we speak every day, to ensure that the customer's money is safe and customer is experiencing secure banking experience along with convenience and availability and other factors that we just spoke about. Online payment we have been talking about. Banking applications, I just spoke about it, that almost everybody will be having some banking application right now with us. So we are well versed about the interface that it offers. Fund transfer, we spoke about it. So this is talking about what digital banking offers. So digital banking offers almost everything. In fact, I will say it offers everything when we want to use digital banking services. So savings and current accounts, which means you can, there are banks, I mean, there is slight difference here. So you may relate to opening a savings account or current account using physical bank branch, where you are visiting the branch and the bank staff is doing all the formalities for you to open these accounts. Then you may also experience where the customer now say, where the bank official now says that, okay, you be at your home and we will use the video KYC for you. You come on camera, we look at you, we do the account opening formalities, we complete the formalities for you without you visiting the physical bank branch. And through the video, through the completion of KYC online, I give you an experience to open a savings account end to end. So this is one way. Third, which the bank is now, which is one step ahead, is now digital bank. You must have heard of DigiBank by TVS. You must have heard about Kotak 811 account. You must have heard about something called millennial accounts by ICICI Bank. So they are digital accounts. They are one step ahead. The target segment of this kind of a audience by banks is millennials. So like ICICI calls its accounts like millennial account. So millennial account is something targeting the audience between the age group of 18 years to 35 years. So these are just ways to bring the product to the customer. But the underlying factor is banks are moving one step ahead to give an absolutely different, absolutely class apart experience to the customer using technology and using digital channels. So what these digi accounts do is, or what these online accounts do is, you simply log into their site, fill your complete details on the site, and instantly you get the account number. So there isn't a need for a video KYC. There isn't a need for any physical visit to the branch, just an online entry, filling of a form, and the account gets activated. We have been talking about deposits. So deposits is like internet banking is one way of it. Then there is a collaboration that banks are doing with fintech organizations. A fintech may have a customer, a financial technology firm may have a customer, but the financial technology company does not have a banking platform. So it ties up with a bank to ensure that for a customer of a financial technology company, a bank is able to book the deposits. So the basic understanding of digital banking is I go to the net bank, a net account, use internet banking, use mobile banking, and book a deposit. But then there is an extension of it. There are financial technology companies which are not banks. So they are tying up with the banks in times of today, and then offering the customer sitting in some remote location to book a deposit or to have a credit card overdraft based on that deposit, based on the tie-ups these fintech companies have done with the banking company. So we have come way ahead when it comes to offering the services to the customers of the fintech organizations who are not even a banking customer, and they are able to avail of the services because a fintech has a tie-up with a bank. So at this, when I'm talking to you, you might not be getting an absolute clarity on how that integration works. So I'll put some effort while we progress in the slides to explain you how that works. So loan and mortgage services, again, you can avail of loans through net banking. Digital channels are there. Again, there are fintech and bank partnerships there to offer these services. One very big revolution that happened in the loan space, especially on the personal loan side or a business loan side or a auto loan side, is pre-approved loans or loans that you get in fraction of seconds. So there are big banks like HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank and others now for that matter, who are able to provide you loans in a fraction of seconds. So you must be getting messages on your mobiles, or when you log into net banking, you will see that there is a pre-approved offer based on the transactions in your account, and they will ask you if you require a loan. You can just do the basic form filling, choose an amount. They also give you a loan amount that, okay, you are eligible for a 10 lakh rupees of a personal loan or 5 lakh rupees of a personal loan. You just do the basic application filling online, click the button, and in about 3 seconds or 10 seconds, you get the loan in your account. Loan amount credited to your account. So you don't have to go to a bank branch, submit your KYC, submit your financial statements to avail of a loan these days. So these examples will only make you realize the kind of progress banking has made, the kind of convenience it has offered to the customer, and the only factor that works behind all the examples that I am giving is the combination of technology and the expertise of the financial services domain, and the integration of the both, which is enabling the financial services organizations, including banks, fintechs, to make this kind of a availability of product and service to the end user, which is the customer, which is all of us. So when we're talking about wealth management, so wealth management is about advisory. So advisory is basically about when you want to make investments. It is in mutual funds, or it is in life insurance, or you want to buy a general insurance for yourself. You want to invest in portfolio management services, any type of tool or instrument that comes to your mind. Wealth management is also available digital now. If any one of you has experience, you will see that there are websites available. You go fill in your details, they will prepare a financial planner for you, that my age is 45, I can invest 30% in equity, or maybe 50% in equity, 30% in debt, and 20% I can keep, in savings as a liquid money. Depending on somebody who's 60 years of age, they will say your 70% of investment should be directed to debt, only 30% should be exposed to equity. So based on your profile, your age, your income, which state of age, and which state of your career, and various other factors, these digital tools are used by the banks to give you a financial planner, to enable you to manage your wealth, to enable you to diversify your investments. OD facility we have already spoken about. I tried to speak about it when we were talking.
Ma'am, I think your video hung up. Can you hear us? We are not audible actually. Ma'am?
Yeah, my apologies to all of you. I think some net connection at my end. So I'll just resume. Okay. So I think we just discussed about all of this, the digital banking offerings that come to us through banking channel. We can now, actually talk about the latest trend, which is there beyond digital banking, which is primarily talking about financial technology space. So fintech, you will understand that as the name suggests, means financial technology. So I have touched it upon by saying that it is mainly the integration of technology with the financial services space, which is now an extension of what we used to call digital banking at a point in time. Almost same services which we discussed in this slide, whether it is savings, etc. Fintech is providing. So whether it is deposit and lending, I gave you an example on deposits and loans, investment management, with the fintech platforms. Just excuse me for a minute. So. Whether it is insurance integration with the bank platforms or payments or crowdfunding is a very new and nascent concept in India as yet. So crowdfunding is basically if you want to raise some money for project finance. So you usually approach people physically. So crowdfunding is through an online platform. You introduce your project to the audience and ask for funding. So it is a very nascent concept right now, not being done actively. But this is also one space which is picking up pace now in the financial technology space. So payments we have discussed in detail. Financial research and investment management are more or less a combination of each other. So it is a research-driven financial advisory to the client based on various factors: income, age, profile, risk appetite, which leads to the investment management, our suggestion on investment management decisions to the customer. So why we have been talking about fintech, or why banks are promoting before that? Okay, why banks, digital banking or fintechs are coming up? So these are the factors which basically promote introduction and highlight the importance of financial technology companies. Cost effective from the organization perspective, higher security, like we discussed about cyber security, risk assessment, etc., is being worked upon by various organizations to ensure that whenever the customer is experiencing digital platforms, there is no compromise on the security. So they are all high security platforms which are being offered to the customers for end usage of various products and services. Upgraded payment systems, we have talked about it. Integration of platforms between fintech and banking systems, or even banking itself has its own very sound and solid information technology. When it comes to storage, compute, network, everything is upgraded to offer that kind of a fast, convenient, and 24/7 service, which also refers to speed and convenience. So speed is related to the latest technology, upgraded payment systems that various organizations are using in these times. Then transparency, like I mentioned in my talk, we are seeing what is happening to our account. When we are applying for a loan, we know what we are filling, what data is being captured, what type of transaction I'm doing during my interface with the mobile or internet. I am aware, I am seeing it at that very moment. So it is a purely transparent. Charges are shown upfront. So there isn't anything that will come to you at a later date. So while you are completing an application of a loan, you will know what is the processing fee, you will know what is the rate of interest, and there will be absolute clarity before the transaction gets processed, instead of a loan amount getting credited to your account and later on realization coming in for some charge. Just an example. So otherwise also overall there is complete transparency while dealing with any type of digital channel during our interface with various platforms. So this is just to give you a view. We have discussed this in slides on about cards, about mobile banking, net banking, but what are the tools which are available? What are the extended form of various offerings? So we are not all the financial institutions are progressing towards digital economy, because even the government of India has a vision to transform our overall economy into a digital economy. So it is talking about faceless, paperless, and cashless banking. So when the presentation started, the first thing was going paperless. Talking about internet banking meant moving from paperwork to digital, which in a way meant paperless. So that was only to deposits account earlier. When it extended to loans, so even loans started becoming paperless. When we are talking about cashless, so it is encouragement of the cards, it is encouragement of the UPI, it is encouragement of AEPS, it is encouragement of internet banking. So various platforms to make it cashless so that it is more or less account to account transfer. Now, when we are talking about faceless, means we are not physically going and meeting the bank staff. We are interacting with the computer. I gave you an example of an interface that comes to you when you log into the net banking. So there will be a chatbot popping up. So that chatbot will ask you, what do you want to do? So there is no human intervention there. So right now, only repeat queries a chatbot is able to address. You want a statement, you want a balance inquiry, you want to open an account, you want to know about the product of the bank. So these are repeat inquiries which banks have incorporated in their chatbots. So there will be time when it will be extended to fulfillment of services other than repeat inquiries. So this is how faceless is moving ahead. So only people who need to interact with the customer to get into the business of the organization or introduce more customer to the platforms will be required. People who will be doing repetitive tasks will be replaced by what we see on the screen right now, which is slowly happening. And as the day progresses, as the time is progressing, so all these technologies are moving and enabling something called faceless also. Banking cards we have discussed. USSD is an unstructured data availability, which means that you are right now using smartphones. So it is also about usage by earlier mobiles which were not smartphones. So they want these technologies to even be a part of a old age BlackBerry which used to be there, or a phone which will not be a smartphone but still have the ability to do use UPI or to scan a QR code or to have an inbuilt QR code. So that is the kind of work which is happening in USSD. AEPS is Aadhaar enabled payment system. So all of us know when we do Aadhaar, it is basically, these are the initiatives basically for financial inclusion. So banks do not now believe in putting their branches in remote areas or rural areas. They do tie-ups with the business correspondents. So a bank will do a tie-up with a company called Vakrangi, so which will be present in a rural location already. So anybody who wants a withdrawal to happen in a rural location, which even a state bank will not have a presence at this moment, but will have a business correspondent tie-up where the person will be able to get his cash through a Aadhaar enabled payment system, means by putting his bank account number, by putting his Aadhaar number and giving a biometric impression. So these are steps towards towards financial inclusion, making the availability of financial product and service even in the remote parts of the country. There was a phase when all banks were talking about increasing the number of branches. A lot of customers will visit to us and ask us, how many branches do you have? Whether do I have a branch in the neighborhood? Whether I will be able to walk into the branch next door? So there was a space when we will take pride in putting a lot of physical branches, that we have 200 branches when we have 500 branches. Now there is a phase of consolidation. Consolidation in banking. There was a news about 2-3 years back where banks have consolidated. State Bank of India having 20-30 subsidiaries are consolidated and merged into having 5-7 or just one bank. Similarly, private banks who earlier would spread a lot by opening branches every now and then, now they are consolidating. Reason for all of this is moving from physical branch presence to digital. UPI we have discussed in detail. Mobile wallet, prepaid cards, point of sale is being replaced by QR code. So when you go to a merchant, you see a machine. It takes your card, swipes your card and does the transaction. But now along with that, you will see a merchant having a QR code. So you scan the QR code, you make the payment. So that is the kind of movement that has happened. So over a period of time, maybe you will see no POS being used by any merchant. So it will only be by QR code. Internet banking, a lot of discussion we did. Mobile banking and micro ATMs. Aadhaar enabled and micro ATMs are more or less the same thing. It is for financial inclusion, mostly used for promoting banking products and services in the remote areas of the country. So the last paragraph, the small paragraph, just shows you about the trend on how digital payments have increased from financial year 21 to 22. So a 33% spurt in terms of volume is seen in the last 1 year. That is the kind of penetration and usage increase that is happening across digital products and services. Okay, so this is another step towards, so when we talk about what is emerging in digital technology, so we have been talking about chatbots, robo-advisory, we have been talking about digital currency. So what are the technologies working behind it? So what is that the banks are doing to make that kind of a provision available to the customer? We spoke about examples on 10-second loan. We spoke on examples of financial planning, which will be automatically done. So these are the technologies working behind the scene to offer that product or service to the customer. So when we talk about in India, most of the concepts are now being used by financial services companies, by financial technology companies, and they are widely used. The USP of today's digital banking is to offer the hyper personalized service and hyper personalized product to the customer. There is nothing called one size fits all kind of a formula with the banks or financial services companies of today. It is only about offering what the customer needs by studying the patterns, by studying the trends, by looking at the end use that the customer is doing, by looking at the account transactions that the customer is performing, by looking at the requirement that the customer may have. So whether it is artificial intelligence and machine learning are more or less the same field. So artificial intelligence or machine learning or cloud computing, blockchain, open banking, insurtech, these are all technologies which are working behind the scene to study the patterns in the behavior of the customer to offer hyper personalized services through technology based modes, digital modes to audience across, which is provision, and it is very, very actively used in financial services space. So there's a lot of disruption by this technology. Banks are competing with fintech. So it is more about upgradation of technology using these, upgrading their cultural setup, training their people that we'll talk about to make them aware of these technologies for faster implementation within their systems to catch up with the competition or to offer what everybody else is offering to the client in these times. So these are certain technologies which are working behind the scene. So this is again some statistics which is talking about how digital and third party channels have progressed and multiplied over last few years. So we have tried to show the digital channels which are in use percentage wise. So mobile has the maximum usage because mobile banking got introduced also sometime back. So about 90% you can say customers prefer to use mobile. Online banking is pretty active. So these are percentages just giving you a perspective on how digital is being transformed and customer journeys are being moved from mobile to a third party to a social media in terms of the percentage allocation. So digital assistants we spoke about, the chatbots basically. Social media, we talk about people also. I work for a new age bank, so people also request us to open an account or ask for a loan or through Twitter. So we get social media requests. So integration is from Twitter to kind of reaching a banking channel. So that is also becoming popular among people to be used as a channel to avail of the banking product or service. Again, this technologies that have a significant impact, artificial intelligence we spoke about. So whether it is, when we talk about customer service, credit scoring, fraud, everything is about studying the patterns in the account and hyper personalized services to the customer. Open API, I have been talking in my discussions about integration between banks and financial technology companies. So banks are working as a full-fledged banking company. Financial technology company, they have a product to be offered. They are not a full-fledged bank. They have a product to be offered. They have a digital platform, they have a customer base that they want to target, but they need a banking partner to fulfill that kind of a requirement of the customer. So how the integration happens, that happens through open APIs, application program interface. So application program interface is a kind of bridge between the platforms of the fintech and the bank. Blockchain again is a technology to secure the transactions through remittances. AR is augmented reality. VR is virtual reality. When we are talking about AR and VR, it is basically about immersive experiences. You must have seen a lot of our kids are basically using big screen goggles or to experience when they play video games. So they'll use big screens, specs or goggles, which will give them a virtual experience. Like it becomes an immersive environment to operate. Similarly, it is happening in the financial services space also. So VR and AR are moving away ahead to give that immersive experience to the customer without physically being present or visiting in the physical environment, so to say. So without visiting an office of an organization, without visiting a branch of a bank. We are obviously, these trends are nascent at this stage, but overseas these are much more in use and applicability is higher in comparison to India. But in India also this trend is picking up. So fintech trends, through my examples, I have tried to tell you about branchless banking. So fewer branches, consolidation is happening. Banks mostly consider offering everything through digital channels. Banks and fintech partnerships we have been talking about. I have tried to give you examples on what type of product and platform integration can happen between fintech and banks to reach the end user and make the banking products and service available to the end user. Then there are neobanks. Neobanks means 100% digital banks without branches. So neobank means there is no bank branch, just a digital platform which can be experienced by the customer to avail of the financial services and products. So these are certain names which operate as neobank here. Invisible banking is, again, now we are talking about POS machines will be replaced by QR. There is still a card we need. So it is movement from a physical card also, like from a physical branch to digital. Now it will be it is something which is underway also, moving from a physical card to a cardless banking. You will not even need your card to do a transaction. Open banking, we have spoken about integration using application program interface, which is APIs. And then again, this is the objective of our, it is a government-led initiative and vision and objective, that a full stack means 100% of what we offer through physical branches could be offered. This is the vision that Niti Aayog is proposing, that in future, it should be a scenario where full stack digital banks operate, which means that there should be requirement of no physical branches in times to come. So this entire journey makes it very important for people in the financial services space to keep themselves relevant. Plus, it also becomes important for people who are venturing into this arena to create an importance for themselves. Like we have all through the slides, I have made a mention that it will be faceless, it will be cashless, it will be paperless. When we talk of faceless, we are saying that we do not need people, or the digital space does not need humans who are doing what the machines are doing. So we need repetitive tasks will be taken care by machines. They are already being taken care by machines. I'll give you a very interesting example over here. A lot of you must have read or heard about this news. If you have heard, or I'll just take you through. So there is a lot of cash movement that happens. So large banks have currency chests. So they used to deploy a large count of people, huge number of manpower for dealing with the cash which will come from multiple branches across a location, and then sorting of the cash will happen, and then a counting of the cash will happen, and it's billions of rupees. Because for example, our ICICI Bank has 500 plus branches in Delhi NCR only. So it will have a lot of money coming in, a lot of staff is needed. It will work like a factory. People cost is there, everything is there. About few years back, I don't recollect the exact year when they introduced this. About a few years back, they replaced the currency chest, currency sorting and counting by a robotic introduction. So now robots work in the currency chest of ICICI Bank. It's a live use case which is being used, deployed at the bank. So all those people who were used for counting the currency or counting the notes or seeing whether it is a genuine note or an ingenuine note, those people are redeployed or not deployed anywhere. So robots have replaced something which a human used to do, spending multiple hours, and the cost motivation of the company was also not there, because on a repetitive task a lot of money was being spent, which is now being spent on innovation. So this is a real life case. When we're talking about interactions through chatbots, so when you call a call center IVR, a human being is sitting. If IVR is not answered, you get redirected to a human being. Now your chatbot is taking care of that requirement. So these examples are examples of introspection on how fast the technology is moving, and how people like us in the financial services space, or somebody who are upcoming financial professionals who want to make careers in financial services and banking or fintechs or any related financial services domain, need to upskill themselves. So need to equip themselves. So this is about a chart which talks about everything that you must be taking care of to equip yourself to rightly place yourself to make a career which is long drawn in a field of finance. So reskill workforce, analytics leader, we are talking about data analytics, which is required to study the human behavior to offer personalized services. So there are people behind the scene who are doing programming, who are setting algorithms, who are reading what the data is all about to provide the analytical insights. Enhance customer experience. Obviously, these technologies are enhancing customer experience, which we spoke about in terms of speed, convenience, availability, everything. Innovation, every now and then you will see new products. 10-second loan was a revolution. When HDFC Bank introduced 10-second loan, ICICI Bank introduced a 3-second loan. So this is the kind of experience that banks want to give. So 10 seconds was longer enough that another bank innovated it to happen it in 3 seconds. Just an example. So every now and then new technologies, new innovations are being rolled out by various financial companies. Leverage modern technologies. So the entire presentation has been about technology and how we as financial institutions are leveraging on technology to offer services to the clients. Upgrade system and processes. That also we discussed, that unless we upgrade our technology, be in sync with what is happening in the current times, we'll all be stale and not required. The center point is align leadership and culture for a digital future. So the organizations are also aligning their existing workforce, reskilling them, upskilling them, spending a lot of time, effort, and money on reskilling and upskilling the existing workforce to keep them relevant in the times of today and in the times of future. So this is again some small statistics, before I kind of wind up. So this is talking about the adoption rate, fintech adoption rate globally. It is talking about India market being the most promising and one among the fastest growing markets with the acceptability of fintechs and fintech startups in India, 21 to 25. So in about 3 years, next 3 years, you can see it is more than 5 times the growth that we see, or close to 5 times the growth that we see. This is how the space is moving, and this is how we are progressing. So this is it from me. I just hope that I have tried to explain whatever has gone into this space. So once again, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Participants, if you have any question, kindly post them in the chat box. Thank you. We indeed thank ma'am for throwing light on growth and significance of fintech in banking sector in your own style. Dear friends, we have come to the last segment of this FDP. The unthankful heart discovers no mercies, but the thankful heart will find in every hour some heavenly blessings. I invite Dr. M. Anushya, Assistant Professor and the Organizing Secretary of this FDP, to express her gratitude.
Good afternoon to all now gathered here. Thank you is prayer that cannot be seen or touched. It must be felt with heart. I feel humbled and privileged to propose the vote of thanks in this event. First and foremost, I thank God Almighty for His grace and favor, and my heart swelled up with gratitude for God's blessings. A special word of thanks goes to Dr. Paul Dayabaran, Principal, Bishop Weaver College, for providing immense support to make the FDP successful. In absentia, I thank you, sir. I express my gratitude to Mr. Abhilash Mishra, CEO, NSC Academy, for his keynote address that was truly inspirational and motivational. Thank you, sir. I extend my gratitude to our special speaker, Dr. Selvam, Professor and Head, Department of Commerce and Financial Studies, Bharatdasan University, for taking out time from his busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you, sir, for your inspiring and encouraging words on this special day. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our distinguished speaker, Mr. Kothurthi Kishore, member of ICAI and ICSI, and Komal Kular, leading sales, distribution, and customer excellence, for making excellent presentation. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and innovative ideas on fintech. Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am. I must thank Mr. Ranganathan, Chief Manager, Mr. Vinod James, Senior Manager, and Mr. Krishna Kumar, Manager of National Stock Exchange Academy, for working hard for the past few days to make this FDP successful. Without their support, this FDP would not be possible. Thank you, sir. I take this opportunity to express my deep regards and gratitude Dr. G. Nyamraj, Berza, Head, Department of Commerce, for his constant encouragement and providing opportunities to organize such events. Thank you, sir. My deep sense of appreciation and thanks to all the participants from various colleges, universities, and schools present online and offline who have participated overwhelmingly and making the event success. Thank you all. I would like to record my sincere thanks to all my faculty members for your support and constant help. And also I thank the non-teaching staff for their hard work and technical team for all the technical support and guidance in all manner for this event. Once again, I thank one and all gathered here. Thank you all.
Sir, it is my duty to especially thank the organizing secretary for all the efforts that she has put to make this FDP truly successful. I am actually very blessed with wonderful colleagues. Whenever I ask anyone to do some work, they happily do. And when I asked Anisha ma'am to take care of this FDP, she happily did. Actually, her husband is working abroad and is at home now. So she would have preferred to go home early every day, but she stayed back even after working hours to make this event possible. So special thanks to Anisha madam for all the efforts. Thank you very much. I invite Senior Manager Ranganathan to present a small moment as a token of thank you.
Dear online participants, certificates for this FDP will be sent to you through post. Offline participants can collect your certificate from Dr. Lydia at the department office. So long We have had food and nourishment for our mind. To replenish all glucose that has been lost, let us indulge ourselves with a hearty meal. We humbly request the faculty members to gather at 4th floor multipurpose auditorium for a fellowship lunch. Thank you.